know this sounds crazy, really crazy, but I need to tell someone about what happened to me last month in Phoenix. I'm still trying to make sense of it all. Maybe writing it down will help. My therapist said I should try journaling or something. Not that I can afford therapy anymore after all this shit went down. My name is, well, let me just call myself Xander. That's not my real name, but I don't want to use it here. I'm a college student at Arizona State, and I live in this crappy apartment complex near campus. The walls are thin, and my neighbor plays music way too loud. You know the type of place. The kind where the rent is cheap, but you get what you pay for. My shower barely worked, and the kitchen faucet dripped constantly. I kept meaning to call maintenance, but never got around to it. So anyway, I was procrastinating on this English paper. It was due the next morning, and I hadn't even started. Professor Martinez would probably fail me if I turned in another late assignment. She was already pissed at me for missing class twice that week. I was sitting at my kitchen table around midnight, staring at my laptop screen. The cursor just kept blinking at me. I had eaten nothing but ramen noodles for 3 days straight, and my brain felt foggy. You know that feeling when you're too tired to think but too wired to sleep? That's when I got the stupid idea to use ChatGPT. I figured maybe it could help me brainstorm or something. I typed in some random prompt about writing a horror story. Just to mess around, you know? Kill some time before I actually started my real assignment. The thing is, I gave it really specific details. I told it to write about a guy named Xander living in Phoenix. I described my apartment complex, even mentioned the broken streetlight outside that never got fixed. I thought it would be funny to see what it came up with. What I got back made my hands shake a little. The story was about this college student who gets stalked by someone. The stalker knows his schedule, follows him to class, watches him through his apartment window. In the story, the guy starts getting weird phone calls. Then someone breaks into his apartment while he's sleeping. The story ended with the main character. Well, let's just say it didn't end well for him. But here's the thing that really freaked me out. The story mentioned details I never told it, like how my apartment faced the parking lot, how I always forgot to lock my bike to the rack properly. Even mentioned that I worked part-time at the GameStop in Tempe Marketplace. I definitely didn't include that stuff in my prompt. It also mentioned this weird birthmark I have on my shoulder that looks like a crescent moon. My mom always said it made me special when I was little. But how the hell would an AI know about that? I closed my laptop and tried to focus on my actual homework. But I kept thinking about that story. My apartment felt different somehow. The sounds from outside seemed louder. Every car door that slammed made me jump a little. Around 2 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but then I figured it might be important. Maybe my mom or something. "Hello?" I said. Silence. Just breathing on the other end. "Hello? Who is this?" The line went dead. I tried to convince myself it was just a wrong number. People get those all the time, right? But my heart was beating pretty fast. I looked out my window toward the parking lot. That broken streetlight made everything look shadowy and weird. The next day I went to classes like normal. Had my usual routine. Grabbed coffee from the Starbucks on campus. Sat in the back row of my sociology class. Ate lunch by myself in the student union. Nothing seemed different. But on my way home, I noticed this guy walking behind me. Tall, wearing a gray hoodie. I didn't think much of it at first. Lots of people walk around campus. But when I stopped at the crosswalk, he stopped too. When I turned left toward my apartment complex, so did he. There was something about the way he walked that bothered me. Not normal walking. More like he was trying to match my pace exactly, like he was mimicking me or something. I walked a little faster. He kept the same distance behind me. By the time I got to my building, I was basically jogging. I ran up the stairs to my second-floor apartment and locked the door behind me. My hands were shaking as I turned the deadbolt. I looked out my window down at the parking lot. The guy in the gray hoodie was standing by the dumpsters, looking up at my building. Just standing there, not moving. I watched him for maybe 10 minutes. Then he walked away and disappeared behind the complex next door. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every little noise made me sit up in bed. The apartment above mine has these creaky floors, and whoever lives there was walking around a lot. My neighbor's dog started barking around 3 a.m. and wouldn't stop for like 20 minutes. I remember thinking about how I never really paid attention to the sounds in my building before. But now everything seemed loud and threatening. Even the humming from my refrigerator sounded different somehow. Around 4 a.m., I heard something that made my blood freeze. Someone was trying my door handle, just slowly turning it back and forth, testing to see if it was locked. I grabbed my phone and crept toward the door, put my eye up to the peephole. The hallway was dark, but I could see someone standing there. Same gray hoodie from earlier. I couldn't make out his face, but he was just standing there, facing my door. I was too scared to move, too scared to call the police. What would I even tell them? Some guy was standing in the hallway? That's not really a crime. After what felt like forever, I heard footsteps walking away. I stayed by the door until sunrise. The next few days were the same shit. Phone calls with no one there. Seeing the gray hoodie guy around campus. Finding footprints in the dirt outside my window. My bike lock was cut one morning, and my bike was just lying on the ground next to the rack. I started carrying pepper spray that my sister had given me for Christmas. She always worried about me living alone. I used to think she was being paranoid, but now I was grateful she cared enough to think ahead. I started staying at the library until it closed, sleeping at my friend Marcus's place when I could. But I had to come back to my apartment eventually. I had stuff there. My textbooks, my clothes, my PlayStation. Last Tuesday night, I came home around 11 p.m. I was exhausted from working a double shift at GameStop. All I wanted was to crash on my couch and watch Netflix. The first thing I noticed was that my door was unlocked. I always lock it. Always. But the handle turned easily when I tried it. I should have left right then. Should have called the cops or at least called Marcus. But I was tired and stupid, and I just wanted to get inside and go to bed. My apartment was dark, except for the light from the parking lot coming through the window. Everything looked normal at first. My TV was still there. My laptop was on the kitchen table where I left it. But then I noticed my bedroom door was closed. I never close my bedroom door. Ever. I stood there in my living room for probably 5 minutes, just staring at that closed door. My heart was pounding so loud I thought the neighbors might hear it. Finally, I walked over and put my hand on the doorknob. It was cold. Really cold. Like someone had been holding ice cubes. I opened the door. My room was trashed. Completely destroyed. My mattress was flipped over. My dresser drawers were pulled out and dumped on the floor. My clothes were everywhere. Someone had gone through everything I owned. But the worst part was what I found on my desk. My laptop was open, and ChatGPT was pulled up on the screen. There was a new conversation started. One message from me, even though I hadn't typed it. It said, "Write a story about what happens next to Xander." The response was already there, like someone had been waiting for me to find it. I'm not going to write out the whole thing here. but it described exactly what I was wearing that night, what time I got home, how I would find my apartment door unlocked and my room destroyed. And at the very end, it said I would never make it out of Phoenix alive. I grabbed my keys and ran. Didn't pack anything, didn't call anyone, just got in my car and drove. I'm writing this from a motel room in Flagstaff. I've been here for 3 days now. The place smells like cigarettes and bleach, but at least I feel safe. The old guy at the front desk doesn't ask questions, and that's fine by me. I paid cash for a week up front. I keep checking the news online for any stories about what happened in Phoenix, about someone named Xander, but I haven't found anything yet. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I imagined the whole thing. But I can't stop thinking about that story ChatGPT wrote, about how it knew things I never told it. And I can't stop wondering if it's still writing stories about me. I think I'm going to keep driving north, maybe head to Colorado or something. Put as much distance between me and Phoenix as possible. If you're reading this and you ever decide to mess around with AI, maybe don't give it too many details about your real life. Trust me on that one.